Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sunshine Sessions, a podcast, more accurately, a parenting podcast by the Sunshine Lab. The Sunshine Lab is Gujarat's first STEM based play area. I'm your host, Riddhi Patel, the founder of Sunshine Lab. At the Sunshine Sessions, we promise to bring you multiple informative talks on topics ranging from children's education, children's nutrition, children's health, and much more. Right now, we're sitting in the month of September, and a very important decision has to be made by toddler parents in this month. Schools host open houses, admission forms are to be filled, and future admissions in big schools has to be taken. In light of that, our guest for today is Charu Agarwal. She is the founder and trustee of Cosmos Castle International School and Cosmos Castle International School Green Campus. There's no better expert to talk to us and guide us, young parents, in our important decision that has to be made. So, welcome, Charu Auntie, and thank you for agreeing to come and talk to us.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you for having me.
Let's start with a basic question. What factors should parents consider when choosing a school for their child?
So, Riddhi, as you mentioned that we are looking for toddler parents, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the first time they're going around looking for the schools. And I know every parent goes to N number of schools. It is a full series that they do. Honestly, what do parents look at? They look at the infrastructure, they look at the campus, they look at the amenities the school is offering. Maybe you may even go and look at the teacher qualifications. And of course, you probably look at every single thing about the school. My take on that would be, is that enough? Whenever a parent comes to me for an admission inquiry, I normally ask them one question. Riddhi, I'll ask you that question.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have a daughter. So when she grows up,
Mhm.
what would you like to see in her? I'm not saying that what she will become, that's for her to decide, right? But what would you like to see in her as a person?
So, one of the most important things to me, I think most parents want to do something that they grew up, doing. So, for me, I was in a Gujarat board, right? And now we have so many options. So, with regards to that, I still love the way we were taught a little bit.
Right.
There are, of course, discussions on that. Is that way good or bad or whatever? But I had the opportunity to free thinking, but education is very important to me. So that's where we come in when we hear these talks. That's why this talk is important, that the child is very free. It's up to the parent at home how much you push your child. These are things that I hear as a parent when these discussions are going on right now. So I want to correct those. I want more information on those. What I would want to see in her is somebody who has a strict, disciplined way of, somebody who's a hard worker, but also is a free thinker.
Right.
To sum it up, that is what I would like to see in her.
A very interesting way of categorizing what you want to see in your child. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And yes, that is a very important requirement. But I also get answers from parents. Thinking has changed over the years. When parents come to me, I usually get the answer that they want a well balanced person who is confident in her own skin, is able to think for herself, is able to face somebody, problem solving skills, leadership, teamwork, basically a personality development kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Nobody asks for academics or 100% marks. I don't think any parents is looking for that. Even you are looking for a free thinker. You want a confident person, but with a good environment of education.
Exactly.
But then education is a requirement along with the developing her as an individual is also important.
Of course.
Right. So this is what I was coming to. Like when you go to a school, look at what the school is offering your child as a person. Swimming pool hai, football hai, chess offer kar raha hai, robotics hai. It is good. I'm not saying it's not needed. It is important. But then look at how happy will your child be in that environment. Happiness quotient, very important. What is the teaching methodology of that school? Is it rote learning? Are they using the new teaching as per the NEP? We'll come back to that. Are they using the analytical thinking, problem solving skills? Is the teamwork, is the collaborative learning? Understand the vision of the school. Talk to the management. Sit with them. Understand thoroughly along with the other things. Sit with them, understand. Like sports is very important. But then if a child is excelling in some sport, I'm telling you as parents, School can introduce the different kinds of sports to your child. We may have 10 sports with us, but then how much time, understand this, parents, as you are going around. Your child is with us for 6 hours in a day, and the school has to cover everything, right? So, sports is there, but it's a part of the curriculum. But if a child is amazing at chess, amazing at football, end of the day, you will join some exceptional classes. The
Yes.
child will excel through that.
Agree.
Information available at your fingertips today.
Hmm.
Academics, yes. Discipline. The learning style, the skill development is equally, if not more, important. That is what a child comes to school for that kind of personal development,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
So that is what you need to do. And you also need to understand, is the school transparent?
So how would you gauge that? That's the thing.
Yeah.
As parents, the reason I did this talk is we know the questions as parents.
Yeah.
But as an educator's perspective, what questions would you give us and guide us to ask schools so that we may, when you say that what is their teaching methodology, so how would we, what are the right questions to ask? When you say teamwork, what are the right questions? All of those things that you asked,
Yeah.
us to understand and perceive, what would we ask the schools?
So, when a parent goes to a school for admission and they're meeting the management, so there are some questions you can ask. But first of all, observe how open is the management to talking to you. Are they, besides showing the whole school to you, um, one thing I would absolutely take into, which we normally do, is I'll come to that first. When any school that you put your child to, end of the day, you will have some points or the other, some issues other will come up. The teacher, maybe the correction, something or the other. Is the management open to suggestions? I do not call them a complaint. It's a feedback you are giving to the school. So is the management open to your suggestions and taking it as such? It's a way we grow as schools by taking your feedback. It's so important for us. So one thing I would like to tell the parents, please don't hesitate. When you go to a school, if maybe you have some concern about the education your child is getting, go and talk to the management. People fear कि हम जाएंगे तो मेरे बच्चे का क्या होगा. Please don't be scared. Come to us. It's a feedback we get from you. So this is something which I would definitely I wanted to share that. Second point that I would like to make, I often see that parents क्या करते हैं, बच्चा किंडरगार्टन में है, छोटा है, तो आई डोंट वांट कि वो बहुत ट्रैवल करे. एक बगल की स्कूल है, अच्छी है, लेट्स पुट माय चाइल्ड इन दैट. Then in the first standard, I will put my child in a bigger school. Now that is so wrong. Okay, if you are very confident about the school, you are sure about the teaching methodology, the pedagogy the school is following, and if you are very clear, fine, go ahead. But understand that the distance is not a factor. I think 2 years back, and I always remember this parent. He came to us and he was very far away. I don't remember which area, I think Ghatlodia or someplace. And probably the child would have to travel almost an hour to reach our school. So, and they were coming with 3 admissions. One was junior KG, first standard, and the 5th standard. I asked the parent, isn't the distance too much for you, for the child to travel? The parent is saying, and I feel so happy about it, ma'am, we have heard about your school. We know the kind of education you're giving, and we know your goodwill. So distance is okay with me. At the most, 15 minutes, आधा घंटा ज़्यादा travel कर लेगा. But those 6 hours the child spends in the school is more important. So that is why it is very important to actually identify the school environment and the culture. Now, coming back to the question that you should ask a school, since it's a toddler, one, of course, I'm sure you have pre-decided the board you are going to, which we'll again discuss in detail later. Now, secondly, I would ask about the language of his instruction. It's very important. And also, I would like to clear a couple of things. Even if it's an English medium school, a child who's coming in the kindergarten, you need to understand that very few families have an English environment at home. Most families, the environment is what? Gujarati or Hindi or a particular language. Now imagine if I put you, Riddhi, in a French medium school and the teacher over there starts talking in French. How would you feel? You would be lost, right? Similarly, a child who's coming in the nursery or the junior KG, and if the teacher is speaking only in English, the child will feel lost. They will stop talking. And we have seen this. So, teacher has to do translations in the lower classes. Parents come up to me and tell me, teacher, Hindi kyun bolti hai class mein? But please imagine this. A child is not all children have an English environment at home. So how will they understand the other language? So that is why in the initial years, we do translations, use both the languages, and as they go higher in the first and second standard, we convert only to English.
Let's move on to our next question, which is very important because now there are so many options to choose from. So, what are the different boards that are available in India, and how would one make a choice depending on what aspirations they have for their child? So, a little brief overview, if you can give, of the boards that are available.
Okay. Okay, first I'll just talk about the different boards, give a very brief overview on the different boards. Now, in India, the boards that are there, of course, the state board. Every state has their own board, which is focused towards their history and their language. Okay. Then we have the CBSE, the Central Board of Secondary Education, the ICSE, the Indian Certificate of Secondary Education. We also have the NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. It's also a very good board. I'll talk about that. Then we have two international boards, IB, International Baccalaureate, headquartered in Switzerland, and IGCSE, that is the International General Certificate of Secondary Education, headquartered in London, also known as the Cambridge Board. Now, I'll talk about these boards who are nationally and internationally based. CBSE is, of course, a very beautiful board. It's evolving very well. It's very structured, and the stress on the child is less because, as everyone says, it is they have textbooks and they focus on those textbooks. But as per the new NEP which has come in, the teaching methodology has evolved very well. In the sense, it is more, they have introduced analytical thinking, the problem solving skills, experiential learning, inquiry based. So all these different aspects of learning styles have been introduced in CBSE now. That's a very good thing. CBSE is also a very strong board if you want to go for further competitive examinations like NEET, G, etc. Because the curriculum of CBSE is very much in tandem with those competitive examinations. It'll be probably more in depth, but almost what you have done in the 12th. So that is a good choice to make if you are planning as a parent to go for these competitive examinations.
Okay.
All right. ICSE is also a very good board. Now, ICSE, one thing I forgot to mention, CBSE is the most widely prevalent board across India. There are over, I think, 27,000 schools in India, which are affiliated to the board, and internationally, over 250 boards have CBSE, whereas ICSE has around 2,500 boards.
Okay.
So, if you are in a transferable job, obviously, CBSE. Because pan India, any city that you go to, you can expect to find a CBSE board school over there.
Okay.
ICSE is 2,500 schools only, and probably is only in the main metro cities.
Okay.
That is one limitation I would definitely call for ICSE.
What's the difference between the two?
Yeah. So ICSE has a wider subject coverage. CBSE is focused more towards maths, sciences. ICSE is more balanced approach towards languages, maths, sciences, and arts.
Okay.
But the major difference, I would call it, of course, they are more analytical. They have the same teaching methodologies. But the major difference is the depth of the coverage.
Okay, so ICSE covers it in more depth.
In more depth.
Okay.
Students may find it more burdensome. So the feedback I have got from parents who have come from that board, that because there are many more subjects and the depth is much more, it is a little challenging for a student.
Okay.
So that is the major difference between CBSE and ICSE. CBSE is the CBSE is touching on all the subjects, but utna in-depth nahi hai. My take would be, if a child wants to know more about science, they can take up science later. math, they can learn it further.
Hmm.
Right now, with a little less in depth, you get more chances, or I think more time to plan out more activities for your child to be participative, extracurricular activities. Right? Then I spoke about NIOS.
I'm hearing that for the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure many parents. Unfortunately, it is a board which is not very known amongst parents. And it's actually a very beautiful board. This was made initially keeping in mind children in the far-flung rural areas who did not have access to proper schooling.
Okay.
It's an open school.
Okay.
Which you can do online. But then the advantage of this board is, first of all, I'll make it clear, it is recognized pan India and is on par with CBSE and ICSE.
Okay.
As per the government recognition, every university will accept an NIOS certification.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what are the advantages of NIOS? You have, I think, n number of options to select for. There are 4 exams throughout the year. You have the option of perhaps giving 1 exam a month also. Yeah. So, what is the advantage of that? Now, for example, if your child wants to really pursue a particular sport, excel in something, in any other field, so, and they don't have time to come to school, we do get parents like that. कि मेरा बच्चा एक कंपटीशन के ले जा रहा है, सुबह शाम प्रैक्टिस है, स्कूल का टाइम नहीं मिलता है. So this is a wonderful option for them.
Okay, but how would they study?
Yeah, I was just coming to that. So the books is an online program, but there are schools which cater to this teaching also.
Okay.
The child can go to school, certain time schedule which can be made around that child. So you need to find a school which caters to NIS also.
Okay.
And the child can join that school.
So this is basically your suggestion, not in rural areas, but in urban areas.
Yeah,
for somebody who has like a
requirement
niche that they want to focus on, and then
yeah. See, maybe a child needs special needs child.
Got it.
Who cannot go to a regular school or would like to go to a school but not face those rigorous examinations.
Got it.
See, every child needs the school environment.
Got it.
So this is again a very good option for them.
Understood.
Right?
Yeah.
Then we have the 2 international boards, IB, International Baccalaureate, and the IGCSE. I will talk about them both together. Both the boards have a very rigorous curriculum, I would call it that. IGCSE, they have more analytical thinking. IGCSE does not have any prescribed textbooks.
Okay.
They don't have any set curriculum.
So if there are no prescribed textbooks...
Let me complete.
Yeah.
So they don't have any prescribed textbooks. They don't have any set curriculum. They have a conceptual based teaching. The teacher the teacher and the student, they research the information, and the teacher basically makes up the curriculum based on those concepts and the levels that need to be covered.
Wow.
There are also no formal examinations in IB. They have certification.
Okay.
So when the child covers that level, the standard of education, they give a certificate. Okay. Now, the advantages of IGCSE and IB. IB has textbooks, IB has examinations, and IB has a curriculum, but it is more in-depth as compared to Indian boards.
Okay.
Now, the advantages of these boards are that, yes, because the curriculum is rigorous, the child has to work hard. The child learns, again, I repeat those words, analytical thinking, problem-solving skills, time management skills.
Okay.
So these skills are a necessity. A good English command has to be there. Parent has to give time. I'm talking about the advantage or maybe a con, either way. You may take
in
it.
IB.
Both
IB or
IB or IGCSE, more in IB. That is one thing. The cons, I would call it, yes, the same points. That unless your child has an aptitude for self-learning, and they're toddlers, how do you know about that? But yes, this will be a requirement if you decide for an IB board. Because the child will have to have a self-learning, paced learning, time management, problem-solving skills, analytical, all these skills will have to be developed. The biggest, I would call it a drawback, maybe this is what my take would be, that because there are no set books and no curriculum, we are dependent on the teachers. Okay?
Yes.
Now, our teachers have not gone through this system of education. All right? So now, since they have to be trained to deliver this education.
Okay.
The teacher, now, if there may be some errors of judgment because she's making the curriculum as she goes ahead. And end of the day, the teacher is the facilitator. The child is learning, researching as they go by. It's a research-based curriculum.
What?
IGCSE has books, but even here, the child has to, because the examinations are very rigorous. Our children in CBSE, ICSE, they have the set books. They have to, rote learning is there, and give the answers. But I would say the best part is that because the teaching methods are changing, so we are getting the best of both worlds because the child is developing the skills, but they have
CBSE
an ICSE, but they have the, what I would say, a balance of having a curriculum which they can bank on. The parent can know what the school is doing.
So that's what I was going to ask now. I wanted to stop you, but I was. So when you talk about the international board,
Yeah.
how would the parent know what to revise with the child at home? Or what to...
See, now that all depends on the individual school. Okay? How much information are they sending home? I don't know. I've heard
So that's a good question to ask.
Yeah, you need to. I've heard some schools have almost Indianized the way of teaching, but that actually loses the main benefits of this program because they are expensive at the end of the day. When you put your child in these programs, you do expect the skills to be there in your child.
Yeah.
If you Indianize the program and if you give the notes and child, and if you as parents are very happy कि मुझे notes आ गया, मुझे ये पढ़ाना है, बच्चे ने ये कर दिया, how does it, strength of the board is lost. Are you understanding my point?
But then see, as parents, we also have this need to be able to gauge, what your child has learned.
Exactly.
Or to have a conversation. So of course you see the skills, but the skills that you are talking about, they come at gaps, right? As a day-to-day assessment, you also are assessing, you have an expectation. कि ठीक है, school से ये सीख गया है बच्चा, ये सीख गया है. So that, of course, we in a measured way, you can see with CBSE and ICSE. With IB, I'm sure all the other benefits, and especially when you said IB is more intensive and more in depth, that is something that comes as a surprise to me, in the sense you would not, since there are no assessments, the learning is on the child. So if the child is not giving that much time or not interested in a particular subject, you have to have confidence that your child is actually going to study that particular subject through.
See, this
because there is going to be no pressure essentially from the school.
So that is something that's, again, as I would say, is the strength and the weakness in our Indian system of this board, because we are dependent on the child and the teacher, because you don't have actual set curriculum. So it is as the child researches, the teacher, what the school has mandated. So you're dependent on that. Okay. Now, again, I cannot really tell you what each school has their own way of covering this kind of a system.
Got it.
So what they tell you, what they send to you, that is what you need to ask the school.
What information is passed on. So that's okay. Now, another thing, as to the boards, now, whichever board, going forward, like you gave us the example that CBSE is something that you would do if you were going for the NEET in
NEET.
Yeah, things like that. Now, say, for example, if you're doing the international boards, so if you do the international boards till the 12th grade, and then is the ideology that after the 12th grade, then you're going to study abroad? Is that why you choose those boards? Or if you wanted to do colleges in India, for example, and then go abroad for masters, at which point does that transition happen? Or till which point do those boards apply? Or again, like I said, is the transition, if you do those international boards and still your studies are throughout going to be in India, does it make sense?
To me personally, no.
Okay.
Because, see, we need to understand one thing. Our Indian teaching methods are still very different, and I personally feel they're very good. Okay? Because we get the strength of the concepts, we get the hard work, the discipline, and this is what we have all, this is something which has helped us throughout our life. All right. Now, a child who has gone through, let's say, the IB or the IGCSE till the 10th standard or the 12th, and then now they have a very different mindset, different way of learning. And then we expect the child to go in Indian environment. Okay. So I genuinely have no idea how it maybe a child may even flourish because they have this attitude of researching, but they don't do rote learning. they have this aptitude of researching, understanding, and giving the answers.
Got it.
So now in the college scenario, what kind of examinations are they going for? Because they will have to face some Indian examination, putting them in the Indian culture. So how they will fare with that kind of examination expectation, I
Got
really will not be able to answer that question,
Got
because it will all depend on the child and the parent,
Okay.
how they will take them further with their learning styles.
So that pretty much covers everything in all the boards. So thank you so much for all the information, and thank you for being, on the Sunshine session
Oh, happy
with
to
us.
be here.
Though I'm sure a lot of parents will have follow-up questions. These are the questions that I think I needed to get some information on, and I'm quite satisfied. But if any parents at home have any questions, then feel free to DM them to us, and we'll get them to you.
Definitely,
and
anytime.
hopefully get them answered.
Yeah,
And thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope a lot of questions and a lot of confusion that I had has been sorted out, and
I
it's
really
been a
hope so.
very enlightening talk.
Thank you very much, Riddhi. I had a great time. Thank you very much.